Hi everyone, this video has got a challenge in it for you to get involved with. In this video I'm going to give you guys a bit of a gift. So first of all, you're welcome. This video is about palindromes, and what I'm going to give you is what I would call the palindrome. So not a palindrome, but the palindrome. I would say that this palindrome should come up as the best palindrome in the world when that phrase is Googled. It's my opinion. Right, so first let's go through what a palindrome is. So a palindrome is a word, when it's written, it is the same forwards and backwards. Alright, so mum, dad, race car, which I think is one of the more impressive ones. You also have sentences that are palindromes. For example, Madam, I'm Adam. Okay, Madam, I'm Adam. And there are others. With these palindromes, what I find is they're not really that impressive. Like, I'd say the most impressive one, and I found this one just recently by accident. I was looking at the Hoover at one point, just relaxing, just at home, chilling, and just looking at the Hoover. It's not what I do for entertainment, but it happened. And I saw the word rotator on there, and that's a palindrome. And that's quite an impressive one, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, because you can see how rotator, and if it was to rotate, for example, it still, shows the same word forward and backwards. So, kind of impressive, right? So, that's that. Of course, the ones that are sentences are the ones that are more impressive. When it's a one-word palindrome, you can get things that are like brands, and a brand, of course, can choose what word it's going to use, and a brand can make its own palindrome, like Oxo, Sonos, Aviva, things like that. Alright, so that's a brand, and that's where it's made its own branding name into a palindrome. Alright, now the thing with that is, eventually that brand can become a word. Like Hoover. Hoover is a brand, but of course people say, I'm going to hoover up, or do the hoovering, things like that, and then that brand instead becomes a word. Okay, now the more impressive ones, I would argue, are the sentences. Okay, so as much as I hate Madam, I'm Adam, that is much harder to do if one was to create it by themselves. It's much harder to do than just one word by itself. A sentence is way more impressive, way harder to do. In fact, for you to do a sentence, you would have to probably create all the words in the sentence, or at least the central one, which the palindrome will need. Next stage. If you were to think of a palindrome, if I told you right now, think of a palindrome, make one up yourself, the first thing that you're going to do is make sure that this word is the same forwards and backwards. The secondary aspect of that will be what the word actually is. Alright, so it will be a palindrome. It will do the same thing forwards and backwards, but I would expect it to not be impressive. And let's go on to what is impressive in a minute. For example, rotator, that's kind of impressive. Now that's just a word. If I asked you to create a palindrome using a sentence, make a sentence into a palindrome, that is so hard, you may never achieve it. I would argue that palindromes, in terms of sentences, are discovered. They're discovered, and they're not things that people make or create. They're already in the language, and these are things that are found. A sentence in terms of a palindrome is something that is discovered. Yeah, it's a discovery. It's already in the language. Someone just went and found it and put it together. So going back to the topic here for a moment, I'm looking to present you with what I would argue is the best palindrome in the world. We must approach this from a purely textual perspective, from the perspective of literature, okay, because I know that this palindrome is going to cloud people's judgment, and people may argue that, oh, it's X, Y, and Z, or I don't believe it. Just be honest with yourself, keep an open mind, and just look at it with an open mind and heart, and just look at the letters itself. Don't look at anything else. You know, if you want to skip the message that is shown in the palindrome, fair enough, no issues. But don't dismiss it because of its content. To cover a little bit more on these, I find that a lot of palindromes are just forced. You can tell that they're like just randomly discovered because they're just forced together. There's this one guy who made a poem, and it's all a massive like palindrome, yeah, but it's really all forced together. No disrespect to the poet, but it's not impressive. A lot of it is gibberish, okay. And we're going to have to look at the rules of what we would call a palindrome as well. So what I'm going to say is that a word that is going back and forward, of course, that's a palindrome, that's fine. A sentence as well, that reads the same back and forwards, is a palindrome also. And I'm going to say that punctuation, full stops, capital letters, apostrophes, etc., I will forgive. You can move them, alright? So if they need to be moved around, then move them around, okay? Because that is what happens in palindromes. If we were to say that, oh, there's a full stop at the end, well then you can never put that palindrome the other way around. Or a capital letter at the start, yeah? You can never switch that around, okay? So we're going to forgive those, alright? And I would argue that palindromes in general forgive that type of thing. The next thing that we are going to forgive, which exist in palindromes, are, I think the right word is intonations. I could be wrong. So it's the tones that are used when speaking the word. Alright, let me give an example. So rotator, alright, so the ro at the start is not the same as the ter at the end. Yet when you say it the other way around, you still say rotator. You're not saying rotator. Okay? Probably in America somewhere they might say rotator, which would be perfect. But Madam, I'm Adam. You know, it's not. Kind of, but no. So we're going to forgive those, okay? So intonations in the word, okay? Rotator. Still rotator. We're not going to change how we say it. Still a rotator, and it's still a palindrome. Race car as well. Ray, R-A at the start, and at the end it's car. So it's an A, ray, race, car. Plus the C at the start is pronounced like an S, race. Whereas when it's the C at the end is a K. So if we are strictly going to flip that around and argue that, oh wait a minute, that's pronounced this way and that's pronounced the other way when it's mirrored, that's wrong, because that takes that out of being a palindrome. It's still a palindrome, okay? So these are the rules that we're going to set. Okay, so that's fine. Right, I think we are there. Let's do it. The palindrome, which I will gift to yourselves, is one that has been known of for a very long time. Alright, and I'm talking hundreds, thousands of years. It's not in the English language, so I open this challenge up to any language. If you can find a better palindrome in any language, put it in the comments below. Write palindrome in front of it. Alright, so palindrome, then put the palindrome that you're putting forward. Don't just put a palindrome by itself, because I probably won't see that that's being submitted. Alright, so write palindrome and then the palindrome that you're submitting. Alright, and then let's see what you got. Okay, so any language. So this one is not in English, it's in Arabic. Can you see where this is going? Have you switched off yet? So this is in Arabic, and bear in mind we're looking at this purely from linguistics, purely in a literature lens, alright, just textual, don't put anything else on it, it will not be entertained, alright, this is not a space for any kind of debate. So, let me give you the full sentence as it appears in its literary form, alright. The full sentence is wa rabbaka fakabbir, okay, wa rabbaka fakabbir, okay. Now, at the start of this is a letter wa. It's like a W, wa. Alright. And we're going to remove that because the palindrome still stands without it. Okay. It is not a requirement for the palindrome. That is just the example of the full sentence as it is written. The palindrome appears after the wa. The wa is not needed. Okay. It is a grammatical instrument. That's what the wa is. Okay. I don't know exactly how it's used, but I know it's removable and it does not affect the sentence. Okay. It's something like it's like an exclamation mark. It's to highlight. So it's removable. It's like saying, "Oh, by Steve, that fish is huge." So that fish is huge still stands even if you remove "Oh, by Steve." You understand? Okay, so the wa is gone. Now we have the pure palindrome in itself. Okay, so it's rabbaka fakabbir. Okay. Now, arguments that are going to be put forward with regards to this are the intonations. Okay, the inflections. All right, just as we mentioned earlier on with rotator and race car, these are things that are removable. They will not invalidate the palindrome. Okay, so don't forget it's going to start off with rabbaka fakabbir, ra. Okay, it's like an RA, and at the end it's an IR. It's an ir. Okay. Now, when you see this, and I'll be showing this above, there are markings on the words, and these markings are to show non-native Arabic speakers how to pronounce these letters, words, okay, how to put them together. All right. Native Arabic speakers do not need these markings. That further purifies this palindrome. In its original form, those markings are not present. They're not needed. So a native Arabic speaker would see this forwards and backwards, pure, beautiful palindrome, and that's how it is originally written. Okay. Now then, I haven't told you what it means, and I haven't told you where it's from either. Get ready for the blindfolds to fall down. Get ready for people to switch off and not listen at this point. Bear in mind, we're looking at this from a linguistic, literature-only lens. Nothing else. Alright, so where does it appear? It appears in the most read book on the planet, and it has been for a very long time. What book is that? That is the Quran, the holy book in Islam, and it's absolutely stunning. I've got to tell you, it's absolutely stunning. Okay, the meaning of this palindrome. Now, bear in mind, we don't really like translations and things when it comes to the religion. And again, just because I'm talking about this part of the religion, I'm talking about translations. Again, don't let this cloud how we are discussing and assessing this palindrome. All right. So, translations, we avoid them. Okay, you want to learn the pure Arabic to capture any of it correctly. But for the sake of this video, as this video is in the English language, I will put a variety of translations above now, so you can see what it means. Okay. Now, of course, I'm going to put multiple translations here because it's hard to translate from one language to another, especially one as detailed as Arabic. So you may see slightly different slight differentiations. in the translation. Okay, so from what I know of this, it's proclaim the greatness of your Lord. So to basically say how great God is. And of course, with this book, God is the author. This is God's message. Again, you can just see this as an author if you wish, okay? Because we were taking religion out of this discussion. Let's just look at this palindrome just from a linguistic side, just from a literature perspective, alright? So you can take it as whoever wrote it if you wish, alright? No worries. But it's claimed, of course, that the author is God, alright? And I believe that, of course. Right. So, proclaim the greatness of your Lord. Say how amazing, say how great God is. Now, I find that to be absolutely stunning. Which palindrome have you heard of that comes even close to a shadow of that meaning? Even close. Stick it in the comments below. Alright, any language. Alright. So, this palindrome is extremely old, has been around for an extremely long time. It's in an extremely intricate language. It's a sentence and not just a word. It meets our criteria and reads the same forwards and backwards. Okay, we're going to forgive grammar. And when I say that, I mean things like capital letters, full stops. In this case, it's the wa, which is not needed for the palindrome to function. It still works. We're going to forgive intonations, inflections, alright? Which is what we do with palindromes in general. Okay? So here we are, with this palindrome that is where the author is able to say how great I am, share my greatness, and is able to say that in a way that is impossible for anyone to do. I mean, prove me wrong. Not only that, but this sentence, this palindrome, is a central theme to the book that it's in. To praise God, in this case. Okay, to remember God, alright? This book was written, 1500 years ago, alright? This book is extremely highly praised. It's preserved for all them years, and this in itself is one of the proofs of that, is it not? Now here comes the challenge. Alright. Now, firstly, find a better palindrome and stick it in the comments below. Alright. Let's all have a look. Let's all assess it. Any language is welcome. Please put the word palindrome before your submission so we know it's a palindrome that we're looking at. Any language is welcome. Let's make it so it's not forced. This one isn't forced. Let's not force it. Okay, but I'm sure there will be. Let's make it extremely impressive. Let's make it one where it already appears in a book that is written. Let's go for an old book. Old, alright. You can let's go, I was going to say you can define old, but no, let's go 1,000 years old? 600? Something, we're talking about that. That's what, let's say 1,000 years is old. Let's go for that, yeah? So it's in a really old book. Alright. It's already written. The palindrome should mention a central theme of the book. Alright. So it should comment on that. What else? There's more. It should, let's say it should say something impressive. Let's say it should say how amazing the author is. Can the author do that, do you think? Do you can find one where the author says, say how amazing I am. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. Yeah? let's forgive that. If you can do that, fantastic. If not, let's not worry too much. Central theme of the book is what I'd like. I'd really like the central theme of the book to be in there. All right. So if it's a book about shopping, let's have this palindrome relate to shopping. All right. Etc. Okay. Now I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there are things that I'm missing, that I'm forgetting. Now if there are, let me stick them above right now. Okay. So above right now you're going to see things that I have forgotten and that I'm going to add on. Alright, so that's what we'll do. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, don't forget, this is from a literary perspective only. Okay, let's keep religion out of it, guys. I'm not going to have this as a space for religious debate. Okay, it will not be entertained. Alright, so let's do this in terms of literature only, in terms of text, in terms of language, in terms of what's already existing. Okay. And yeah, here's the thing. Yeah, okay, so impressive. One that is impressive. This is subjective. It is. This is subjective. You might be extremely happy with Madam, I'm Adam. You might be thoroughly impressed with that and be like, no, that's it, I'm done. Fair enough. Okay. I'm going to say different. I'm going to say, proclaim the greatness of your Lord, and it's written by your Lord. And it's in the book that has been preserved for all these years. And it's the same forwards and backwards. And it's spread throughout the world. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, again, it's subjective. There's opinion involved here. So opinion can make things messy. Alright. So it's not the end of the world. If you're impressed by a different palindrome, fair enough. Stick it in the comments below. Let's have a look. I'm putting forward an argument that this is the best palindrome on the planet. And you know what it's like when you first learn about palindromes? It's like a little firework in the head. It's like, oh wow, that's interesting. And when you learn a new one, it's quite nice, isn't it? When you find a new palindrome, there's something nice about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. And that's my gift to you. Please do look at any language that you know. Please share this out. I'm really looking to see and find the best palindrome in the world. I think I found it. So share it out. Any language welcome. Let's see what's going on. Alright. And please have it meet the criteria that have been set. And for now, thank you very much. And hit subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.